they can stay focused on the business of real estate, not suddenly become web developers, right, and social media experts.
Yeah. No, well, we've taken it from that sponsor level right now. I kind of get what they're supposed to do. Let's talk about from the investor level now, from the person who wants to get involved in crowdfunding and wants to invest in one of these syndicates or these funds or whatever you want to call them. How does the investor know that the syndicate is a good deal, or the specific thing is a good deal? Is it just reputation, or how do they know?
That is the $64,000 question, isn't it? I mean, there you go. I'm dating myself, right? Exactly. Right? It was a show, wasn't there? An American show that had the $64,000 question on it. You know what, Ron? It is staggeringly difficult to know. Look. I have been through now, I don't know, at least three major downturns in my career in real estate. And the first time that I started investing in real estate was in the 1980s. And so I was just in my 20s, early 20s. And I, on paper, had made millions of dollars. I mean, really, literally. I thought everything that I touched was turning to gold, right? I had all these partnership interests in real estate deals, and it seemed, and this is the key, as the market was going up, it seemed that I could do no wrong, right? And that no one could do any wrong.
Exactly.
There was just no way you could lose money in real estate. And then guess what happened? The market turned, and I lost everything that I had. Really went from being a paper millionaire in my 20s to actually being in debt because I borrowed against it foolishly. And I think that is the biggest issue today is that you have, since crowdfunding became lawful again, that the real estate market has only been on an upward trajectory. So it's very easy to look at all the deals out there with these amazing returns and imagine that it's just going to keep on going forever. So
yes.
I'm dancing around your question a little bit by, I guess, contextualizing how difficult it is. The only way, I know this sounds a bit glib, Ron, honestly, and I don't mean to sound this way, but the only way to really know if you're into a good deal is if that thing survives a downturn. There are some key things in my the way that I invest, let's put it that way. So I will only look at deals that have long-term horizons. So I'm not comfortable with 1 to 5 years, for example. I don't like this kind of period, especially at this stage of the cycle. Chances are that you're going to run into trouble. There's almost no doubt at all that there will be a downturn. Secondly is leverage. It's the amount of debt, right? If you see a deal that has excessive debt or very heavy debt, that's going to be the killer when there is a downturn, because it would be very difficult for a sponsor to cover that debt, and they'll lose it to the bank. And then, the third thing is the experience of the sponsor and how much have they got in the deal, right? How are your interests aligned with those of the sponsor? If the sponsor's got no money in the deal and just taking fees out, well, why they're not motivated to look after your interests. But
in the long term, certainly not. Yeah.
Right? If they put 50% of the money in, then they stand to lose as well. They're going to be more interested in making the right decisions.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Everyone's afraid of that B word right now. That whole bubble burst or whatever you want to call it. Right. Is there any area in particular that you like right now in terms of geographic location, any states or California? I know you're based out in California, I believe.
Yes. Gosh, I am extremely conservative, and I really think that we are at the very, very tail end of the current cycle. So I've made a couple of investments in the last year, but for the most part, I'm keeping my powder dry. In fact, I've been selling underperforming assets because the market, I think, is so high. Get into cash, and look, there are always going to be pockets where there's opportunity.
Well, speaking of, you just hit the key word right now, because I want to end with this topic right now. Opportunity zones are a big topic right now. The whole qualified opportunity zones. Are you familiar with them? Have you done any work with that at this point yet? Because they're basically they're glorified syndication. They're basically real estate syndication in the most part, I believe.
Well, so the opportunities. Are you familiar with a 1031 exchange?
Absolutely.
Yep. Right. So a 1031. For those who are not familiar, basically allows you to defer payment of tax, right, until later. So you invest in a deal, or you buy a deal and you sell it. You're liable for capital gains tax. If you do a 1031, you can move all the money and all the profit out of one deal and move it into another deal, and you defer your tax liability, or you defer you defer the tax liability until later, right? Until you actually exit and take cash out. So the opportunity zone is kind of in some ways similar in that it creates, by investing in an opportunity zone, it creates the opportunity to mitigate your tax burden at the end of the day, right? To eliminate tax liability when you come to exit under certain conditions. Now, they're not syndications per se, but a lot of people who are investing in opportunity zones, right, and in real estate in opportunity zones, are syndicating their deals. So if you're interested in mitigating your tax liability from real estate investing, then what you can do is you can invest in an opportunity zone, and you can do that through crowdfunding. You can find any one of dozens of funds or sponsors who are investing in those zones, and you will take advantage of, or those sponsors are syndicating their deals in opportunity zones that you can invest in to take advantage of these tax benefits that the government has handed out.
Yeah. And Adam, we're taking the bull by the horns on this project. We've put up the QOZmarketplace.com as a source for that, which will list all the qualified opportunity zones and the number of funds that we've located. We've located about maybe 50 or 60 of these funds that are specializing in this. And the reason why I asked that question earlier was because everybody that's contacting us through the site, and these people are looking at major capital gains. I mean, some people, I would say 8 out of 10 of our inquiries right now, people are looking at placing about $800,000 to almost $1 million worth of capital gains taxes into these funds. And they asked me the same question: what is a good fund? Which of these good funds have good projects? And it gets back to what you just said a couple of minutes ago. It's really, really hard to answer that question. It's really, really tough. It's almost like, well, it's a good fund if it works in the long term. Well, how do I know that? But I think. Go on.
Well, I was just going to say, look, that's really, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there, Ron, because it's one thing, you've still got to have a good deal. The tax benefit is icing on the cake. If you don't have a good deal or a good sponsor investing in opportunity zones, or anywhere for that matter, you could still lose your shirt, right? So the discipline,
yes, right,
finding the right deal and the right sponsor and the right fund is still a critical discipline. Right. It's no good investing in a deal that loses money. You're not going to make money, so you're not going to benefit from the taxes. So your first question, how do you identify a good deal? That's the fundamental responsibility that you have to have over your own money, and then you can benefit from the opportunity zones and the tax benefits.
Listen, you know what? If you get, like you said, if anyone takes anything away from this podcast, it's you can get into real estate investing through crowdfunding, but you have to make sure that you're in the right fund and you're in the right deal. You have the right sponsor, right property. it's not a slam dunk. There is risk involved, and people have to understand that. And that's clear in just about every transaction, any kind of real estate deal. However, as you mentioned earlier too, real estate's been going up so far. It's almost like, well, you can't lose. It was like, okay, great. Whatever project you threw a dart at a dartboard and invest in that land, it was going to go up. And now we're looking at something that may not be like that in the next couple of years. Who knows?
Exactly.
But
hey, Ron, what is the? I'm utterly intrigued by your marketplace. What is what's the URL for that? Yeah.
The website is QOZmarketplace.com. Q as in qualified opportunity zone. QOZmarketplace.com. And while we're pitching websites, Adam, tell everybody out there how to get a hold of you and what websites you're at, and you tell us about the National Real Estate Forum and how we can get in touch with you.
Hey, thanks so much for asking. So I have a couple of key websites. One is the National Real Estate Forum, or nreforum.org, actually, O-R-G. That's my podcast website where I talk to leaders of the real estate crowdfunding industry. And then I have an educational site that is gowercrowd.com. And at Gower Crowd, that's where I provide free resources for investors looking to raise capital. For sponsors looking to raise capital, and also educational resources for investors wanting to learn how to invest, actually, to answer your questions, right? So how do I invest wisely? So those are my two websites.
Great. Well, it sounds like, Adam, that you don't get any sleep either. we do a lot of work on this stuff.
Yeah, it's so exciting, Ron. It's just staggeringly exciting world that we live in.
It is. There's a lot of opportunity. It's always fun. Yeah, go on.
Yes, and you know what? As we look into the near future, right, the next 2 to 5 years, the very sense that there will be a downturn is probably the most exciting. I hate to say it, but only because it will open up extraordinary investment opportunities again. I think that the next few years are going to be really fabulous. That's why I never sleep, like you say, barely ever sleep.
That sounds funny. All right. Listen, folks, you're listening to the Mappable USA podcast with myself, Ron Costa, and our guest today, Adam Gower from the National Real Estate Forum. Adam, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. We really appreciate your time and insights. It was great. Really good stuff.
My great pleasure. Yeah, really, really flattered that you asked me. Thanks so much, Ron.
And everybody listening, go to mappableusa.com. That's our website. If you scroll down, you'll see where we're syndicated. Go and click your item of choice and subscribe and listen to us. And we love doing this. Thank you so much for listening. And we'll be at you next time with another Mappable USA podcast. Thanks for listening and have a great day, everyone.